Thank you, Samuel. Thank you, Adibui. And thank you, everyone that contributed. Now, let's go into the business of the day.
Hi, Femi. Before we go into the business of the day, can we sort of maximize the screen? Let's just put it on slideshow.
It's currently on slideshow.
Oh, okay. I can see the tabs beside, so I was thinking if there's a way we can just.
Okay, so let me stop sharing and. Super better.
Oh, if you're having difficulties, I think we can just proceed. I was thinking just for the sake of those joining from YouTube.
Okay, this is better now?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Sorry, technology. Okay. All right. Yeah, why does this topic even matter? And it matters because especially when you're a marketer, right? People really misunderstand what you do. So an example would be I was speaking to somebody I respect just last week, and I told him I do marketing, right? And what he understood from that is that I do sales. And there's that common mix between marketing and sales, right? So I had to explain that I don't sell, right? I'm not a salesperson, but I'm a marketer. And of course, right, most times we don't want to go to that stress of explaining to people, but most times people misunderstand that. And that's externally. Then internally, they see your role as being glamorized. People just think as a senior marketing person, you're chilling, right? And you're just chilling and they don't really see what you're actually doing on a day-to-day basis, right? Then this topic also matters because you're transitioning from being an executor or a tactical campaign executor to doing more of the strategy. And at that point in time, that's a major leap for you because you're not being told what to do, right? You are literally planning your campaigns and organizing the team and being responsible for your team performance. So there's that transition there. Then many of us also feel stuck, right? Because we don't understand the business objectives. We don't understand what they say in management, and we're just there, just executing and doing things without a proper roadmap. So what I hope you gain out of this session is that you really understand what senior marketing really looks like. And I can at least try to equip you with the mindset and the necessary tools to lead effectively. Senior marketing is different. It's different from business development, it's different from sales, it's different from products, it's different from literally every other thing that they do as a company, right? And it's different because you're a firefighter. And why I reference firefighter here is because a firefighter goes to work today, right? And he goes to work happily, right? And he gets to work and finds out that, oh, a mountain is burning somewhere. And he has to get up and start running to that mountain to put out the fire, right? And as a firefighter, nobody remembers that you saved 100 lives yesterday, right? Everybody wants to, wants to see what you can do today, right? How many lives you can save today. And basically, as a marketer, you're only as good as your last campaign. And this was a message from one of my previous bosses, Osage Alonge. And this really stuck to me because he told me this about 6 years ago, right? That you're only as good as your last campaign. So if you did a mad campaign last week and your numbers are growing, everything, and now you have to create a new campaign for the next month, nobody remembers your last campaign because you are the best excuse. If our numbers are not growing today, it's because marketing did not do this right. It's because marketing is focusing more on awareness. They're not focusing on growth, right? So you have to find a way to balance everything, right? And ensure that you have the right data, you have the right team, you have the right resources to move your numbers forward. So yeah, as a senior marketer, I think the most important thing is that you have to be calm under pressure. And I know a lot of us put it on our CVs, and when we're doing job interviews and say, oh, I can handle pressure, I'm calm under pressure, etc. But we really need to be, you need to understand what calm under pressure means, right? Because there can be crisis daily. We go into work today and you hear that, oh, something is happening on social media, something is happening in the media space. They're dragging you guys, etc. And as a senior marketer, when you are in that position, you have to be calm. You have to understand what is going on. You have to get the right information from the different stakeholders, and you don't panic. You respond. You don't react. So why I said respond but not react? Why we are responding because you have an escalation plan, you have a strategy, you have a crisis communication team, you have a plan already that has been pre-approved, and you know what to do when you're in that situation. So you can map out different scenarios that could happen and create strategies for those multiple scenarios. And when that crisis comes, because it will come, right? This is something that will come, especially in fintech. It will come, but you have to find a way to respond accordingly and not react. And you might not even respond if you don't need to respond, but your escalation plan, right, tells you what to do in that instance. And sometimes being calm under pressure too might affect you, might affect your relationship with other people, right, in your personal life, because most times, because of your job is what you do, I mean, 90% of your time, right? So you're already too calm. And when you're in situations, for example, if you have a girlfriend, right, when you're in that situation and you're too calm under pressure, it can be a problem. So you have to find a way to balance it too. Right, that's just outside of the topic. Yeah, so you need to find a way to balance the urgency that comes with different situations with the right strategy. And you have the right, when you have the right strategy and the right team in place, you'll be fine. And when you're moving up in your career, there's a shift in focus, right? From actual doing the work and just executing to more of directing people, managing teams, managing egos. And yeah, that shift is there. And especially if you manage a creative team, I'm sure many of us. I don't know if you have many marketers on the call, right? How do you guys deal with your creatives, especially your brand designers, your videographers, your motion graphic designers, etc. Do you have creative product marketers, marketing managers on the call?
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay, yeah, Ijoma,
yeah.
how do you deal with your creatives, especially your designers?
For sure. For one, I would manage the back and forth because there will be first brief and they work on it and they don't want to redo it again. So you have to like manage, tell them, this is the brief, but when it comes out in design, brief is different. When it comes out in design, you now see it flesh and blood, and you will see that there are corrections to make, and you now get it back to them, and they'll be like, oh, so all these things are in the brief, and this is what you told me to do, but you're
Yeah,
telling them, but I'm seeing it live and it doesn't look good. So just managing that, communicating beforehand that there will be activations. So praise up for it. It worked. It worked for me. But aside from that, there's also that grumbling, and you have to manage it because these are people and they want to do their job, and you're making their life miserable.
I
Yeah, but
totally
yeah,
agree with you. This is something I suffer on a daily basis. I was suffering the same thing for 10 years, right? Dealing with designers, right? But I think Samuel has his hand up. Let's hear from Samuel.
Yeah,
Good morning,
something else.
everyone.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes, we
can hear
can
you,
hear you
Samuel.
now.
Okay, good morning, Femi.
Good
So,
morning.
I actually dropped a comment earlier. I said we beg them because this is actually very, like, there are days that where, like, when I'm working with my designers, like, they are very amazing and everything goes well over time. And what I've realized over the years is, like the pattern actually varies across designers. So I've worked with certain designers that if I want them to deliver certain things, the approach I use for that particular designer is always different from the approach I use for the other designer. But most importantly, over time, always do when I actually have to brief them is most times I always like share maybe like an expected outcome. Like I always try to visualize what my expected outcome is when I send in my briefs, and sometimes I attach like sample designs to what I expect to receive from them, and I always like tell them that they shouldn't like model that, but just do something better. So that way, like they always deliver excellent results. But them delivering on time sometimes could actually be like a burden. So I always have to follow up and just ensure that okay, these are priorities that I need for today, and just like monitor what they have on their desk part time. But it could
Yeah.
actually be very annoying though.
Yeah, we have like the same. I think your approach is one of the best ones, right? It's very similar to my approach, and I thank God today that I hardly deal with them, right? I have like managers that can deal with the designers directly, so I have more peace of mind in that regard. Well, anytime I deal with my designers, I give them samples. I normally I'm a pen and paper type of guy, right? Or a blackboard type of guy. So I draw basically how I want my design to be. If I cannot find the reference, I draw it and tell them, yeah, go and do it this way, right? And they give me what I want, right? And of course, there'll be back and forth, edits here, grumblings there. But I mean, as you are growing, there's less grumbling to you. And is I won't say a different person's headache, but you get my drift. I think Chidi has his hand up too. Let's take Chidi before we move on.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. So, how I deal with my creatives, I have a background in content marketing management and brand communications. So, I kind of to the minutes for them. Like, if I want a kind of that has an African overlay,
Mm-hmm.
I write every single prompt. It's like I'm prompting ChatGPT, but now I'm prompting humans. And how humans. So I kind of write out the whole brief. I don't give them ideas to work with. I kind of say, this is the kind of design I want. Add this to this point, add this to this point. And then I give them like a week before I need it. So I kind of catch them when they are not so busy with tasks and they get it. So they kind of deliver 4 days before I need it. And then I do all corrections. And so my designs are ready.
You guys are doing very cool work because giving designers work 4 days before. You guys are chilling. Sometimes you might not have that luxury of giving them maybe 2 days before it. It's probably like a day before, or even that day that you need the design. Right.
Designers will always complain at that point.
They will
So
complain.
I don't want them to complain.
So I mean, I see that the work is the work, and yes, we complain, we go back and forth, but once I get what I want, we're friends again, right? So it's always a battle between me and my designers, but I love them
It's
and they
always
love
a
me.
battle. It's always a battle with
Right,
creatives
let
and
me give you an
marketing.
example, right? I don't know if anybody has seen the OP debit card, the one with the Echo Bridge and the National Theatre, etc. Right. So Chidi, it was your same approach that I used. It was me and a guy called Ovi. And what we did that time was we needed to design a new debit card, and we had maybe like a million options, but we did not like it. Boss did not approve it. So I sat down with Ovi at a lounge in Ikeja, and I took my pen and paper and I drew everything that I wanted to see on that debit card. I drew the card, I drew all the structures, etc. And I told him, let's finish this work here. Right at the lounge, this was around maybe 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. And he just, you know what, it's fine. Since you're buying me a drink, I'll do it. So he did it at that lounge and we presented it by 9 a.m. the next morning and we got approval for it. But if we're not in that place and I didn't find a way to incentivize him at that point in time, we'll still be going back and forth on those type of designs, right? Yeah, that's just a random example. Anyway, so let's move on. Yeah, there's a shift in focus from just being the tactical person to focusing on what really matters. And what matters to the business is the outcome in terms of maybe number of new users, number of active users, etc., and revenue growth, which is the only thing that your management cares about. They don't really want to hear about, oh, I grew to X number of followers, all those vanity metrics. They really focus on the numbers, right? And you move from just managing channels to managing people, such as your designers that we just spoke about, your PR people, your social media people, etc., and to managing people and priorities. Right? Then you also transition as you're growing to now owning pipelines, owning the strategy, being responsible for your team's performance. Because as a senior marketer, you realize that, okay, PR might be doing well, social core offline marketing might be doing well, but you have a problem with social media, or it can be vice versa. And once one part of your team is not doing well, it affects you as a lead, right? So you have to ensure that your team is doing well at every point in time, and also guiding them to do better. Then you become the bridge. I put this image on the right-hand side for those of us in Lagos. I'm sure we all know where this is. Right, this is Third Mainland Bridge. And this is a very long bridge, right? Because you're the bridge between products. If you have a BD team, you're the bridge between the BD team, sales, research, and management, and other teams I don't really steer, like customer service, etc. So as a senior marketer, you are that bridge. And unfortunately for me, I prefer maybe BD sales team and research to products, engineering, and even deal with management, because management they know what they want, right? And there's always going to be an issue with management. It's part of your work, and it's something that you have to understand, because everybody feels that they know marketing, and it's something that's a problem that all of us will face, because everybody feels that, oh, they know marketing till it is time to execute and do the work, right? So you're that bridge, and you have to carry everybody along from your ideation state to you execute to even sustenance, right? So as a senior marketer, you're that bridge. Then you're no longer a storyteller, or you're still a storyteller, but you're a storyteller plus revenue driver for the business. So it goes on to my next slide, doing the work and not just saying the words, right? So if I was to rename this slide, right, this presentation, before the Treford guys sent me the analysis, what I would also name this presentation is buzzwords versus results and LinkedIn versus reality. Because buzzwords are good, right? Especially when you're growing, right? It gets you the job, it gets you to the interview stage, right? But you don't grow a brand by buzzwords, right? You grow a brand by actually doing the work. And as a senior marketer, especially when you're hiring, you have to find a way to basically segment people that know the words and people that know the job, right? So basically separating your dreamers from your doers. And how do you separate them is by actually looking at what they did, their roles in different campaigns, and how they executed, right? Then also for you, it's also important that you execute. I encourage my team to also do side gigs, because I think that's how I also grow fast, because I was consulting for other companies. I was just taking a lot of gigs that made me learn with each campaign, and I understood all the parts of marketing, from PR to even social media, right? So something happened to me last week, right? My head of social media is on leave, and I was in a crisis situation, right? So I sat down with my social media guys, and I literally explained the basics of social media and how we can improve on certain things. And many of them were surprised, because you never really see me talking social media like that. They assume that, oh, I'm a core marketing guy or I'm a PR guy. I probably wouldn't know as much in social media, but I do social media because I was doing it for different brands at different points in time, right? Let me give you an example. Is Lemfi. When Lemfi started, right, I literally handled their social media. While I was doing PR, I handled their social media for a couple of months, right, because the CEO was my friend. And I literally did everything from planning to even posting to engaging influencers, etc. Right. And of course, you don't have many senior marketers doing that, but it's important that we actually do the work. And sometimes don't stay on your high horse. Go and deal with the team. Take up even smaller gigs just to learn, because marketing evolves every day, and you also have to evolve. Right. What worked for you 5 years ago, right, is not what will work for you today. So you have to really look at the market, understand the market, and find a way to also evolve yourself. And not fall into the trap of vanity metrics and following trends without proper context, etc. Right? What happens? I mean, I always try to model similar markets, but what happens in a market like Bangladesh might not be the same context with what is happening with your users in Nigeria, right? And what happens in Lagos is not the same thing as what's happening in Kano, or Kaduna or Zamfara or anywhere else in Nigeria. So you have to really understand your user context. You can leverage surveys for this. If you cannot visit there physically, right? Just speak to people and really understand what your users are saying in those markets. And also focusing on what really matters, as I mentioned before, you have to tie your marketing strategy to your North Star first, which is the most important thing. Then ensuring that your strategy brings growth, revenue growth, and value to the business. Then as I think as Samuel mentioned earlier, right, with your briefs to your agencies, to your designers, to all stakeholders, you have to have clear briefing. You have to know how to segment your strategy to different target audience. So from your different age groups that you have, different locations, etc., and how to measure impact, which is the most important thing. Because yes, we do a lot of work as marketers, but do we know how to report that work? Can people really see the work you're doing aside from, okay, you have ads running, you have billboards, etc. But what is that? What are your billboards? How are they measurable? Where are they? How many eyeballs do you have? How many footfalls do you have per location, etc. And if it's your ads, of course, you can measure the numbers, right? But how you represent them to management is very important, because doing the work is one thing, but as you're growing, you realize that presenting the work is what is the most important thing to stakeholders, right? And yeah, of course, clear understanding of the basics and the required tools. So what it takes to grow into a senior role. We all know that all stages of growth in marketing, right? So you start off as an executive, one intern, then move to an executive and a specialist, then you move to a manager, assistant manager, then senior manager. Then you move to the business of the day-to-day, which is the leader or the head of marketing or executive position or whatever we call it at the various places, right? And at this stage, right, me in my office, my PR manager, my social media manager, etc., they all call me a politician. And why they call me a politician is because I know how to manage stakeholders, right? And I know how to fight for my team too, right? So I manage stakeholders. I ensure that with every conversation, my team gets involved, right? We get consulted, and we are always active in taking decision making as a company, right? So, and it's very important that we know how to navigate it, right? Let's not alienate ourselves from what the business is actually doing and what senior management is doing. So at this point, you're more focused on growth and impact to the business. And what a success signal looks like for you would be engaging stakeholders, leading strategies for not just within your unit, but for the entire company, right? Measuring KPIs and setting clear KPIs for the team, and revenue contribution. I think I've spoken about revenue a lot because in the past maybe 2 years, I've been more focused on revenue than ever in my life. And honestly, I prefer not to focus on revenue, but at these economic climes, revenue is very important for you as a senior marketer. And the hardest part for us while we're growing is crossing over from being a manager to being a leader. And I mean, it might seem very simple, but it's because it's not just about the title or anything. It's basically about your mindset and what you're contributing to the company. This revenue that I keep saying, right? What you're bringing to the table and how you're taking ownership of different activities, right? So once you cross over, then of course you're in a new ball game and you learn the lessons your way. And I think this always takes time and experience how to deal with key stakeholders, key business leaders, etc. So, I mean, this slide is just talking to what it takes to grow into a senior marketing role. And yeah, how do you get there? For me, this is, I think this is me personally, my own experience. Because when I was crossing over, I didn't necessarily understand the larger picture of things. I just focused on doing the work, running campaigns, executing, and more strategy. But I didn't necessarily understand who the cost centers were. And I didn't also understand that marketing is not just a cost center, right? So because ideally, brand marketing is, or you focus on awareness, building trust, and all those other metrics. But now you're moving from actually just building trust and creating that awareness to being a revenue center. And they just have to understand the profit and loss part of things and ensuring that every campaign that you're doing, every co-marketing you're doing is driving the numbers for your company. That you cannot move forward if you have bad eggs, unfortunately. Can you guys hear me? Says my internet connection is unstable.
Yeah,
Yes,
we can hear
Okay.
Yes, can hear you.
Right. I hope I'm not talking too much. Esther.
Oh, no, we are right on point. We are with you.
Okay. Please, if you guys want to comment, this is supposed to be conversational. So please, we can feel free to talk, ask me questions as we're going. All right. Okay. So hiring rights, motivating your team, especially your social media guys, making sure that you don't get stuck in the routine. And because we all tend to do that, just the routine of, oh, we do this, and this is the approach that will go on for the next 2 months, 3 months, and everybody just moves like that, like soldiers. But you have to break out of that routine, think of new ideas, evolve as a team, and just finding a way to just do better than you did last month. And it's just about we're reporting our numbers, etc. But finding new campaigns. And what I realized with many founders is from your marketing team, they like the routine. Yes, it's part of the work, but they want to see big ideas, right? And working with the Chinese people, right? I've worked with Chinese people for a while, and understanding that, yes, aside the routine, they want to see big ideas. And those big ideas, probably every quarter, they want to see it. So you have to look for what is new, right? And you'd create your strategy for that. And yeah, just create and share and execute properly, right? Then also tech evolves daily, right? So that's your playbook should also evolve. I'm not using the same strategies that you used last year or 5 years ago. Of course, you have the knowledge of those strategies and how to execute them, but what worked before might not work again. So you have to constantly evolve, right? And yeah, build teams and relationships. I think I'll talk about this more on the next slide, right? Build relationships across different teams and influence. You have to have influence across teams. Let me give you a side talk and example would be me personally. I've never applied for a job in my life, right? I've been moving through referrals. And it's very weird that saying that I've never applied for a job. I seem very lucky, but I can be also unlucky in certain instances. But why I've been able to get jobs is because of referrals. And an example would be, I don't know if Harry is here, Harry from Treford, right? When I was at Money, sorry, excuse me. I joined Money, right? And how I joined Money was because so one of the guys on my sales team at that point in time was someone that I worked with a lot because he was doing sales. And he was more of a junior person to me, right? And I think he was speaking to the CEO of Money at that point in time. And so the CEO asked him who is actually running the campaign. And he knows that that guy has most of the details when it comes to my activations, etc. So he asked him who is the person doing it. And because me and the guy have interacted, we have played, we have talked, we have traveled together in terms of doing campaigns across different states in the country. And he mentioned that, it's one guy, Femi, that is the one that does most of the strategy and the execution, right? And if I did not build a relationship with those teams and I worked in silos, right, probably that referral would not have come, right? So it's not just about, I know this guy is my colleague, etc., but understanding what they do, finding a way for you to work with the other teams is very important, right? Yeah, so moving on, leadership, it doesn't equal to authority. So influence is built by being trusted and everybody knowing that you can deliver, which is very important. So trusted across different levels, from your product team to your sales team, to your BD team, to your customer service, etc. Right. Then also understanding different business units, understanding the business itself, right? So understanding products, right? I'm not saying you should speak product and be writing product papers. No, I'm just saying that understand your product, right? The product life cycle and what they do and how marketing can help, right? Then understand and speak data. Unfortunately for us, many of us run to marketing because we don't like maths. Okay, let me not say many of us. Me, I ran to marketing because I don't like maths, right? But unfortunately for me, it still caught up with me. And understanding the data aspect of things, ensuring that you are informed with every strategy that you do, right? Always getting the data right. It can be through surveys, it can be through your Power BI, etc. But you always use data to back up every strategy you use, and stay curious. Yeah, I think that's my advice. Then also invest in people with both your time and resources. So investing in people doesn't have to be with cash or anything, but it can be just sitting down with your partnership team and really understanding what they do. And in that instance, it can be, how can marketing help? And because you are also in the industry, right? You probably know key players in the industry, and if they have blockers in any way, trying to resolve those blockers, right? And I'll say emotional intelligence is also a key thing, right? Being calm under pressure and being able to understand the business challenges and preferring solutions, not just being defensive, right? Because I've also realized that as marketers, we tend to be defensive when they're criticizing your work, or in certain instances, especially with key management. But you have to understand the reason why they're saying X, Y, Z, and maybe adjust your strategy. And of course, defend yourself when you need to defend yourself, or your strategy when you need to defend your strategy. Right. So final thought on this slide would be, if you're not being consulted by other things, then you're not a leader yet. Right. So you have to be ensured that your product team is consulting you when they're building, right? Your engineering team is also consulting you. Your sales team is also consulting you when they need something to happen in, for example, Port Harcourt, right? If you guys don't have enough awareness and all that, your sales team, because the numbers are very important to them, they can go and do an activation. And if they don't carry you along, then there's a problem somewhere. So you have to be very close to your key stakeholders. If you are in fintech consumer marketing, right, then you're in trouble. Right? If you're on the B2B side, you're a bit safe. And let me give you an example. Many of us know what happened with Paystack, right? Can you guys respond to me? Do you guys know what happened with Paystack?
Yes, we do.
No, I don't know. Luckily, I don't know.
Okay, you don't know. Okay. All right. So Paystack wanted to start, they started a consumer business, and they realized that it's not business as usual, right? Everybody loves Paystacks, and they are B2B. I mean, they're a large brand. But when it came to the crux of it, and they moved to consumer business, right? I remember one of them calling me and saying, "Is this what you guys are suffering?" Right? So they had the compliance issues. Yes, that's even on one part. But the other issue they had was, their comment section, it was not, that I love you, etc. Right? It's not that, my money is this, my money is that. You guys are stealing my money. You guys are this, you guys are that, right? And there's that shift that no matter how great your content is, no matter how great your team is, when you post on social media today, there will be those negative comments. So you have to find something that will make you sleep at night, which is use an analysis. Maybe 50% of my comments can be good, the remaining 40 be bad, the remaining 50 be bad, right? etc. Right. So, but understanding that when you are in consumer marketing, right, it is different from business marketing, right? So it's just something that we should all understand. And I mean, I think Paystack also, they didn't know what they bargained for. And yeah, they're in that process of trying to deal with it. And not just on the social media side, the PR side as well, right? So then, understanding that your compliance team would always delay your campaigns, especially when In Nigeria, landscape is changing every day. There are new rules, there are new regulations. It can be from FCCPC, it can be from ARCON. And an example would be this thing that happened with ARCON in April, where the new regulation on social media advertising, and you have to go to ARCON first, right? So if you are drawing up a new campaign, you have to ensure that you carry your compliance team along and ensure that you don't get fined, right? Which, for example, I think it was BetKing or Betway that suffered that situation, right? So now if you're running new campaigns now on social media, you have to go to ARCON first, which wasn't happening last year or earlier in the year, right? So just understanding that compliance is key to what you do, because if you do the wrong thing, trust me, ARCON will find you. They will find you and find you, right? Then understanding that also operations, products, engineering, user growth may conflict with your timelines, right? So you might want to run a campaign and you need the help of others, right? I hate the engineering team because I feel like they always take forever, especially Nigerian engineers, right? They take forever with everything they want to do, right? But I know it's of course not their fault. They have other priorities, but so they might conflict your timeline. So ensuring that you plan your campaign early and you brief them early, and yeah, I always try to wind them to ensure that they do my bidding for my campaigns and they prioritize me. Then understanding the realities of the game is that if there's a human error or a system error, you'll be blamed. And you're the first line of defense because you're dealing with social media, you're at customer touch points, right? So with those instances, right, you have to have a clear strategy for dealing with XYZ. Then what we must understand or master as key marketers is crisis communication. I think this is the most important thing for us, because if you're in consumer marketing, you'll face crisis. You cannot run away from it, right? So it can be internal crisis or it can be external crisis. So external crisis would be there's a news on maybe Sahara Reporters or one of these other platforms, right? Or even Tech Cabal, which is one of my favorite platforms, right? It can be there, and it's of course not something that your brand will. So you have to find a way to crisis communication strategy to address that. And internally, it can be with key stakeholders, with the management team, the BD team, etc., and also having a way to deal with it. And you have to ensure that your team understands that that sometimes pressure might come. There'll be certain periods across the year that you'll be under pressure as a team, right? So you have to build a team that understands that and that equipped, and is to them it's the work and it's the culture, right? So you have to ensure that you have the right team in place. And as a leader, right, what I always say is you have to shield your team from the pressure. So you and your foot soldiers, why I say foot soldiers are your marketing manager, your PR manager, your social media manager, the people directly under you, right? You have to ensure that you and them can relieve the team of the pressure that you're facing from other stakeholders, maybe the senior marketing, the senior management, etc. Right? So you withstand that pressure, and of course, they know how to deal with your team, because your designers might not know how to handle that pressure. Your social media executive might not know how to handle that pressure. So you have to learn to take up that pressure, and you relieve the team from that pressure. Then just learn to prioritize. And something that works for me every single time, is I always have an escalation plan. Whenever there's an issue, I just go to my escalation plan, right? I don't even think twice. I know what to do, right? And I have pre-approved responses from compliance, from senior management, from legal, for all the key issues, right? Because there's nothing new under the sun, and we know all the issues that might happen as a brand. So in terms of fintech, it can be around payments, it can be payment failures, it can be a system hack, it can be anything. So all those key issues that you know that will be there or can be there, right? Map them out and have a generic response that you can always just tweak to suit the situation at hand. Then also have SOPs, right? Processes for every issue that might also come into play. All right, we're coming to the end of this presentation, and from my own journey, what I've learned so far would be the most important lesson, which is why I put it at number one: be a thief. Right? I'm not saying you should go and steal, right? But be a thief in terms of a good quote would be, and this is one of my favorite quotes, is good artists copy, great artists steal, right? So look at what worked in other markets, what strategies worked, what content worked, right? And find a way to improve of them, right? And adapt them to yours, right? So it's very important to steal, right? And always research and check out not just what your competitors are doing, but what your competitors in other markets are also doing, and what you see even the smaller guys doing, right? Don't focus on the big guys every time. Focus on the small ones, the ones that are doing it well. An example would be I was talking to my partner recently, and I just asked her like, oh, what do you think we can do better in certain instances? And she gave me very smaller platforms doing better things, and I had to reflect and really think about it. And yeah, I looked at the other platforms, and I even looked at more platforms. I took time out to look at more platforms. I sat down with my team to say, okay, these guys are doing this. Why can't we do this better? Right. So yeah, basically go and steal from them, because also they steal from you. So if they steal from you and you're not stealing from them, they are wasting your time. Right. So yeah, be a thief. Right. Then great marketers understand people and not just the platform. I think my background also in psychology and management helped me become a better marketer, right? Then always lead with insights. Unfortunately for us, data is important, and you have to validate all your ideas, right? Your strategy. Don't just go to the market, right? If you're doing a new campaign, test it internally, then test it externally with your surveys, you can have like concept groups, etc., that you would just get real-time feedback. And what I always do every year is, unfortunately for my company, I make them pay for this, but I do a national awareness survey, right? Just to understand where I'm at this point in time, right? And where I want to be by the end of the year. So this national awareness survey helps you understand where your customers see your brand at the moment, the key issues around your brand, and finding a way to resolve those key issues, right? So you can reach out to IPSOS or any of these research firms or agencies like Chain Reaction that can help you get some of those insights across different states across Nigeria, right? Because it's very important that you do this, because you're equipped with the knowledge, and you can create your strategies with the data that you have. Right. Then, yeah, of course, most growth comes from the boring work. I think we all know this. Then always reflect on what worked and what didn't, and most importantly, why. Right. Reflect on what worked. If it worked for you, double down on it. And if it didn't work, find out why it didn't work. And I mean, campaigns would fail. There's no two way about it. All your campaigns might not be the best campaigns ever, right? You have campaigns that might not work, and it might not have worked for, maybe the market wasn't ready for the product at that point in time. There could be 1 million reasons, right? So you just have to find out if there are 1 million reasons, find out the 1 million reasons, right? And it's very important for us, and find ways to tweak and improve further. Then don't focus on the vanity metrics, right? It's still important for you, right? To your conversions, your likes, your engagements. This is very important, yes. But especially when you're at this level, let your managers deal with the likes and all those vanity metrics, but ensure that you focus on the real things, right? Which is number of users, number of active users, right? Number of transacting users, etc., and the revenue impact on the business. So how's your strategy or your campaign improved revenue in XYZ months? So let me give you an example. So if you're doing a marketing with a different partner, right? One of the partners you have on your app, for example, right? And let's say ideally transaction volume was like 1 million a day, right? Once you do your campaign, you have to track those transaction volumes and value to see if it jumps from 1 million to 5 million to 10 million, or is even dropping, or it's just it just dropped from 1 million to 1.2 million, right? To ensure that you're tracking revenue. And yes, you do not win alone. You have to carry teams along. I mean, many of us would like to just wake up, do our campaigns, and move on. But you have to ensure that there's integration and alignment within all your key stakeholders. And ideally, personally for me, my stakeholders for me would be my product team, the sales team, and maybe the user group team, just to ensure that there's proper alignment within us. And when I'm running my campaigns, they're also running sub campaigns under. And yeah, when I'm doing sustenance as well, they're also with me. And yeah, get a mentor early, which is very important. I have a mentor. I've had mentors for the last 5 years or so. And some of them might be active mentors, some of them might not be active mentors, but just get a mentor. My current mentor is Olu Akamu, right, who is a marketing wizard, right? And when I have blockers, I go to him and I tell him, oh, this is what I'm facing at the moment. And he advises me on what I can do. And once you're a senior marketing, it's not even about doing the work anymore. It's more of relationship building. It's more of negotiation. It is more of dealing with stakeholders. And at management level, you have to understand that those blockers will be there, right? Not everybody feels like they know marketing, and you have those challenges explaining your work to certain people, right? So you have to understand the business side of things and how to deal with challenges when they come up, and a mentor would help guide you in those instances because they have had that experience, they've done it time and time again, and it will just help you every way, right? Yeah, so another thing to add here is read a book, ensure your team reads, right? So one thing I just even introduced to my team is a book review. So every week we pick a book and we review it, we put ourselves in teams, right? And it helps your executives grow. And it doesn't have to be anything, it doesn't have to do anything that has to do with marketing. It can be strategy, it can be product, it can be anything, right? But you ensure that your team their mindsets are evolving, they're growing, and they come up with new ideas. So giving them a book just helps improve their mindset in certain ways. So yeah, I think we have come to the end of my TED Talk. Thank you for listening to me. My closing advice would be never stop learning the business side. And marketing is not just arts, it is arts plus revenue plus accountability. Thank you. So I'll
Thank
take
you
question,
so much.
comment.
Very awesome. Very, very wonderful session. And yes, we already have a number of questions that's already waiting for you, and I'll be asking them in a bit. Thank you so much. The floor is still open. If you have any question, please just drop it in the link I dropped in the comment section so that it will help us to compile it. Very, very important. You can I dropped the link. I've been dropping it in the course of the section, and quite a number of questions. Interesting questions, by the way. Okay, let me drop the question link again. If you missed it, just go to the comment section and then yeah, just fill up the link, because when me start answering the question, I might have to kind of lock the gap. I'll close the gap of asking questions so that it will help us focus on the kind of questions. We already have quite a number of questions anyway. Before we go to the phase of answering questions, which is going to be another insightful session, by the way, for those that probably missed the beginning of this session where I was talking about TLC. If you've probably attended any of our sessions before now, and then you have filled the TLC form, I really want to thank you, because your data actually helped us in navigating giving us insight into what professionals challenges they're actually facing, and helping us to create values, helping us to create sessions like this. It was from the data we were able to gather that helped us in trying to form of sessions like this and even sessions to come. Thank you so much. And in case you want to be part of the TLC, which is Trevor Learners Community, can you do well to fill that form? Very, very interesting. Yeah, it's a very interesting community, right? It will help us look into correct pain points and challenges that professionals are facing, and then help us to kind of find a way to address it, especially in Shuffle Learners community. So do well, fill the form, and yeah, of course, we are going to get back to you. And then in the course of the session, I noticed Femi was saying quite a number of things in terms of analyzing data. He made mention that from his own perspective that it was because he doesn't like mathematics. That was why he went to marketing. Unfortunately, he still hates mathematics. So, and then that has been quite a number of challenges for marketers. So in case you still have issues with analyzing data and all of that, yes, we have a course in Sheffield Pro that is going to address that. I've dropped the link. It has to do with measuring and analyzing marketing data. In case you have not seen it, this is a very appropriate opportunity for you to buy the course and then, of course, go through it. Then we also have courses on go-to-market plan. I think he also mentioned it on how to market and also launch your product. Very interesting course, and it's also very insightful like this. Just take a look at it, and then you can just save this link maybe in the course of the discussion, and then yes, you can also pick it up from there later on, and then go through the catalog and then pick it up from there later on. And then also do it, he also mentioned something that has to do with post-launch product marketing strategies. We have a course related to that. You might want to answer that. So straight up, I'll be mentioning this also at the end of this particular session, but then we'll be going to the question and answer. I can see burning questions in the Slido link, which I'll be sharing my screen now so that Femi will just do justice to the question. So once you start answering the question, I might not be able to take any question. We already have 6 questions. Very bogus question. Okay, the first question. Please confirm if you can see my screen. Femi answer. The first question. Okay, somebody just added this. Oh, I'll be closing the gate. We already have enough questions for the day. Hopefully, the time will be enough to be able to answer all of this. What is the ideal roadmap to becoming a senior marketer in terms of skills and values that one should be able to display that makes them land jobs or the promotion? What's the ideal roadmap to becoming a senior marketer in terms of skills and value that one should have or display that makes them land jobs or promotion? I'll prefer if you can answer that briefly because we have quite a number of questions to answer. Over to you, Femi. Hi, Femi. You are muted if you're speaking.
Sorry, I was actually talking to it. Okay, all right. Yeah, what's the ideal roadmap? There's no perfect roadmap. It varies for different people, but I would say understanding the foundation of things, right? So understanding the basics, right, which is very important. Many of us we tend to try to cross over from the basics to the specialization stage, etc. So understanding the basics, then doubling down on what actually works for you, right? And I think the most important thing or most important value to have will be integrity because it's very easy to get lost. I can't see the question anymore. It's very easy to get lost within the whole hype of things. So having that integrity would also help with how you deal with agencies, how you deal with external stakeholders. And I'll say just focusing on what works. If PR is your core or if content is your core, ensure that you understand everything else in marketing, right? So if your core is content, for example, then understand what PR is doing, understand what offline is doing, and ensuring that you have a perfect mix of all the different arms of marketing. And I mean, once you understand that and you have been able to show that you have executed in different ways, then you will get that job that you're looking for and that promotion that you're looking for. And I always say be open to gigs, right? Smaller gigs, bigger gigs, right? Because they always help you improve in terms of knowledge, in terms of influence in the market, etc. Right? So get a number of gigs, do them. Short-term gigs can be 1 month gigs. Do it and move to the next thing. So I think that's the answer to the question. I hope I answered or did justice to the question.
Awesome. Yeah, I believe so. When you answer this question, you can just drop it in the comment section. Hopefully, maybe it might take a follow-up question, but yeah, I believe you does justice to it. Very briefly to the second one, what mindset and although I think it's a bit related to the first, but then what mindset and skill shifts are necessarily moving from execution level roles into people management and team leadership?
I think the mindset will be around what I also said in the presentation, focusing on the business side of things, understanding the business itself, uh, understanding that you're no longer a cost center and you're now a revenue driver. It's very important when you're transitioning to senior management. And I'll say knowing how to deal with people as well, understanding that people have different egos, just ensuring that you know how to manage your team properly, right? And you provide guidance and leadership to other people reporting to you and even your stakeholders at the management level.
Awesome. Okay. Sorry, I want to kind of lock the question because more questions are coming in. Yeah, the next question. What can mid-level marketers with generalist experience effectively position themselves when transitioning into specialized role like product or tech marketing?
For me, I was a marketing generalist, then I called in PR later on, but I'll say if you are transitioning into a specialized role is sometimes read, ask questions, join communities, right? And yeah, communities are very important, right? Join communities and uh, just find ways to also do courses and small gigs on particular roles. So if you're doing product marketing, for example, take product marketing courses, then do small gigs. It can be a volunteering gig on product marketing, just so you can get hands-on experience and real-life experience and talk to people within that sector. Find out what the blockers are, right? So not that you find out the blockers when you're doing it already. Be aware of it already, and you know you're armed with the information and knowledge to know how to address different situations.
Armed with the necessary information for us to know, for you to be able to know the specialized roles you are going to. Thank you so much, Femi. Then next question. Looking back, what personal clarity or mentorship moments significantly shaped your journey into senior market and leadership?
This is a deep question.
Right.
Yeah, I'll say in terms of clarity, it was a couple of years ago, and I think I was at that stage of deciding what I really wanted to do. That did I even like marketing per se, or should I move to something else, right? But I found out that yes, I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed what I was doing. I enjoyed the campaigns, and sometimes you might need to step back to realize that you actually enjoy something, right? So I think at that point in time, when I found out that okay, yes, I actually love what I'm doing, then so it made me sit up and be more serious with what I was doing, and I doubled down on what worked for me, and I just kept on moving. And I think also a mentorship moment for me was, I think a couple of years ago when I met Olu, right? And I used to write Olu speeches and everything, right? And I was at an event maybe 3 years ago. I was speaking at the event, and it was one of these Tech Fest events. And I was on stage speaking, right? Talking about whatever I was talking about. And Olu was in the audience. So when I came down, right, Olu saw me, said, Femi, you spoke exactly like me. This is what I would have said if I was in your shoes at the moment. And I think that also helped me realize that, okay, I was doing the right things. And he also encouraged me to do better in certain aspects of things, right? And yeah, I think that also Olu helps guide me in certain instances where I, of course, don't make the right decisions, and I feel like I'm not making the right decision. I might call him, and you, of course, he's your mentor. Not necessarily scold you, but he'll tell you that okay, you can do X, Y, Z better, right? So I think him and other people, stakeholders in my life, have also helped shape my journey.
Thank you for sharing a piece of yourself. Yeah, thank you for sharing a piece of yourself. I mean, it's a very, very, very wonderful moment, and hopefully, it's going to also resonate with every one of us. Before we go to the next question, very briefly, my colleague is here, and is going to, like, just very briefly, PH some courses to us on Treford Pro. On yeah, I think I made mention of Treford Pro, and yes, specifically on what courses you want to take, Africa. And then yes, my colleague has also dropped a link on how you can join the community. You can just drop your details for the community. It's very, very important. Fermi, would you want to come on stage right now?
Yes, Esther. Hi, good morning.
Um,
I'm business session Femi. Thank you very much. I had so much to learn as somebody who interfaces marketing department as well. Esther, please let me share my screen.
Okay.
Yes, and I hope everybody's having a nice time as well. Just to show you my face. Hi, good morning, everybody. Yes. So we have a couple of courses on Treford Pro. For context, Treford Pro is one of the verticals on Treford where you could definitely take self-paced courses. I mean, everybody is a professional, and sometimes we just have so much to do during the week. And for some of us, leisure time is definitely run on some of these courses. So let me run you through some of these courses on our platform here. We have the live session. Sorry. But for here, you could definitely filter some of our courses on our self-paced by your level of experience. We have beginners level, we have the mid-level, and we have the senior level. I would assume most people here are definitely in the fundamental and the advanced level. So we have the marketing, fundamental, and advanced, depending on your category. And some of the courses are being shared on what Femi definitely taught on this call. We have the go-to-market strategy plan, which every marketing person definitely knows how to draw. Um, Femi also mentioned about the fact that he didn't know that I was going to definitely need analytics and mathematics while I was doing marketing. For here we have the measuring and analyzing marketing data, which every marketing person must definitely know. You have to be able to use data to make decisions in every of our departments. Also, if you've not filled our TLC form, please help us fill it because these are some of the things we're using at Treford to definitely make decisions on bringing courses like this to you to help impact both us as a company and you as an individual. Also, let me just touch base on some of our coming live events we have ongoing. Please confirm you can see this page, please.
Yes, you can see Fermi.
Okay, thank you very much. Starting from next month, we have our product marketing accelerator program. This is strictly for people in the mid-level to the senior level category, top notch. There are demo sessions, also access to mentors, and so many more like that, and peer-to-peer learning as well. We have the performance marketing program. I see somebody was asking about performance marketing. I know most marketing persons are much now tilted to being more performance oriented than just being chasing of vanity metrics. I mean, no offense to marketing people on this call. We also have the technical product management, and this is strictly for people in the management space. Just thought to share that. Thank you once again, everybody. Shout out to you. Thank you, Femi. Thank you very much, Esther. Bye.
All right, thank you, Fermi. That's Fermi, Growth Marketing Associate here at Treford. So yeah, we'll continue to our question. Hi, Femi. Somebody is asking about how one can negotiate for salary/benefit range for a senior marketing role so you don't get shortchanged in employment negotiations.
Okay, I mean, this question is very good. I think personally, I always find out what the industry pays for that particular role, and of course, I always ask for what I always ask above that limit, right? So it ensures that when you're negotiating, you have like a slightly upper hand, and if the brand knows that you have value to offer, right, and is within the payment, the range they have, then of course they will do it. But I mean, most HRs, unfortunately for us, they try to shortchange us. So you have to ensure that you understand what the industry standard for that role is. And I mean, some people might not necessarily want to tell you what they are earning, but they can give you a range around that. So I think it's important that you understand what they actually pay for these roles and Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Next question. How can behavioral economics be applied to encourage better financial habits through bank marketing?
This is a complicated question.
Right.
Uh,
I
um,
mean,
I think yeah, Chidi, I know, right? But yeah, this basically is it helps you in terms of when you're doing educational content, etc. Right? So ensuring that you can, I mean, as fintechs, right, the most important thing for you is educating your audience on the right habits, etc. Right? So just getting educational content and advising your customers on the right habits to do. And you can do this through multiple channels. You can even do this through TikTok. Now I'm learning TikTok. Before, TikTok wasn't my place, right? Because I mean, growing up doing marketing previously 2 years ago or 3 years ago, you probably wouldn't put TikTok as part of your core strategy. But I realized I was looking at some data just yesterday actually, and I realized that monthly active users on TikTok is about 16 million, right? And Twitter is just 8 million, right? So what that means is that your customer base is there and you can create educational content in fun ways, just different ways to reach your audience, right? So it's a good channel for you to teach financial habits, and you can look at what platforms like Money Africa and others are doing, right? They encourage financial habits through their products. I hope I answered this question because I won't lie to you. This question is hard. Right. Okay. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, before at least answer the question. Okay, somebody's asking, are you open to having a name?
Yeah, I am. I mean, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. We can talk.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
My name on
that.
LinkedIn is Olorunfemi Hansen.
Okay. How can I identify a potential mentor and effectively teach myself to be mentored?
I think a lot of people are very open to this, right? Because I mean, you see a lot of people, right? Maybe you see them from afar, and you think that this guy is a very strict guy, is this, is that. But I mean, when you approach them, you can be at events and just speak to them, right? I don't think you, as a marketer, you shouldn't be scared to approach anybody, right? It's even part of your job, networking, right? So speak to anybody that you need to speak to and pitch yourself, tell them what you do, right? And tell them, do some small research about the person. And if you like the work they've done, then reach out and tell them that, oh, I liked XYZ campaign. I would like to know more. And I mean, I directly, I don't think I've necessarily asked someone to be my mentor, but yours through conversations, yours through me calling for guidance, and automatically it just became what it is, right? And funny enough, they also call me when they have bloggers as well. Oh, Femi, I'm doing this campaign now. How do I navigate this? Who do I talk to? And it's a two-sided street, right? They learn from you and you learn from them.
Thank you so much. It's two-sided. You learn from you and you learn from them. Awesome. Okay, what next? How important is having a higher educational qualifications, e.g. MBA, masters to one's marketing career, or having good experience and a great portfolio?
I mean, good experience and great portfolio is good. It's actually enough, but for you, why you're getting your MBA is because it's for senior management, understanding how to deal with other stakeholders in management. And I prefer, rather than doing masters or etc., right? Do your masters, yeah, but do courses, right? Do CIM, do Acon, do everything, right? So those ones are better suited for your skills, that directly suited for your skills. And yeah, do an MBA when you get to senior management level, because it gives you some insights or it's things that you're probably thinking about, but it just defines it and it puts it in a box for you. So that's why I see MBA as important. But yeah, your good experience, a great portfolio is good. It'll get you any job that you need. But for your own senior management skills, you need an MBA or CIM just to refine all your ideas and how you approach things.
Makes sense. Thank you very much. And then lastly, I think that's the last question. Although believe there are some on the chat. How do I choose a marketing mentor? Most of the people have connected. I think you've answered this, but then most of the
No,
people
but
have connected with the
they,
marketer, not the
they don't have to
myself.
be, they don't have to be in your city, right?
Mm,
I can't remember the last time I even saw my mentor. I don't think I've seen him this year, but
mm.
we talk over the phone, right? We organize meetings and etc. I probably see him more at events than me organizing a meeting with him, right? So yeah, just do virtual, right? I mean, this call we're having is virtual anyway, so do virtual, speak to people, reach out on LinkedIn. I mean, not out of, it's like when you're applying for a job, you apply for 1,000 jobs, but it's one that you get, right? So keep reaching out, don't shy away from it, and yeah, you find the right person at the right time.
All right. Thank you so much, Femi. I'm saying, somebody is asking with this in the comment section. In the meantime, I've dropped the link where you can give your feedback to Femi and how you find the session. You can just make use of the link to drop your feedback to Femi. Okay, Bimreke is asking your slider isn't opening. Oh, sorry about that.
Sorry?
But Bimreke is asking that questions is highlight your steps to conduct market research for a proposed campaign. Or let me just ask the question
Okay.
together. She's actually asking two questions.
Okay.
Steps to conduct market research for a proposed campaign. Then your take on performance marketing and what are your winning strategies in this context?
Okay, my steps for marketing surveys. Let me start with that. You have to refine the second question. I don't think I got that clearly, right? But for me personally, let me just map it out in my head first, right? I with every survey, with every research I do, of course I want to know what my objectives are, right? So my objectives would be, what do I want to get out of these guys that I'm doing the research for, right? Then who are they and where are they? So I'm basically understanding where my customers are, if they're in Lagos or if they're in Zamfara, they're in the northeast, northwest, or even the southeast, right? Then I take time out to, I have a marketing research person to sit down with my marketing research person, and I design my questions, and basically I try to keep it short, and I try not to ask more than 10 questions because Nigerians don't like filling things, right? So once I define my questions and identify them, I choose my distribution channel. Basically, my distribution channel can be either through maybe sponsored ads, or it can be through emails, or if I have, so now I have a Telegram community, so it can be through my community as well, right? Or just regular social media posts, right? I don't think I've done a physical survey in recent time, but with the national awareness survey, the agency I used did offline for me. So, but generally when I do my surveys, it's mainly online, right? Then because I want to encourage people to participate, I always try to incentivize them. So it can be, oh, fill this survey and get 200 naira or 300 naira or 500 naira if I have money at that point in time, right? Then I always do, once I get my responses, I compare it with the second survey that I would have done internally, right? So I have a huge staff strength, and we have people from different classes, different demography across my staff strength, right? So I do an internal survey and I compare the results with the one I got externally, right? And yeah, basically once I have the insights from the survey, I use it to inform my strategy, right? So yeah, I look out for what is new and what validates what I already learned, what I already knew, and yeah, I use it to inform my strategy. I hope I answered that question. Who asked the question again?
Bimreke asked the
Okay.
question. And then very briefly, she's also asking on your take on performance marketing and what are your winning strategy in performance marketing?
Maybe you pay me for if I give you this answer. Right. But yeah, I mean, marketing, especially in this economic line, is moving from just the regular brand marketing, just focusing on awareness. The numbers now matter, right? So everybody's focused on the numbers, how you're driving revenue. So I think My meaning strategy is, my take on that is, yeah, performance marketing is important, but also as brand marketers, let's not also we have to find a way to balance it, that we're not just doing performance marketing and product marketing alone, but we're still doing our brand marketing. So there has to be a perfect balance between how you manage your brand and how you do performance marketing, right? So don't get lost within that loop of focusing on performance every time, right? You have to understand that sometimes for you to get to performance marketing, you must have done brand marketing. People already know your brand, then you're converting. So the ideal journey as a marketer is your brand awareness first, then your conversion next, right? You cannot convert people without getting that awareness and that trust first. So it's very important that there's a perfect balance between your performance marketing and your brand marketing. Then the second part of the question was what again? Sorry, I forgot.
Your winning
winning
strategies.
strategies.
Yeah.
It varies. It depends on the campaign. I try not to. What works for me is I don't do the same. I don't use templates, right? I create my strategies from scratch. And unfortunately it takes your time, but it helps you refine refine your ideas, because it's very easy for us to, once you have done a template, you can just refine it and refine it for new campaigns. But once you take time out and you do it from scratch, you do your proper research, you really think about the product, right, and about what you're doing at that point in time. And that way, once you have the necessary knowledge, I mean, your strategy will be great. So always take time out, research, and find out what works in other markets and what works with your previous campaigns and how you can do better.
Thank you so much. Phoenix, I know you will have something to say. You have already dropped a question, but I'm sorry, we are working with time. How we can manage this, please just do well to drop your details in the community. It's very important. And I noticed some of us are already dropping questions that would actually come in form of a session in our subsequent event. So just do well. Fill in the link I just dropped for our community, where you can just drop questions or things bothering you, or sessions like this to address those kind of questions. I mean, that is the essence of the community. For those that have filled it in time fast, thank you so much. That's actually helped us to gather data to know where exactly to come in to address this kind of situation. And then even for events that are coming up later on, my colleague has talked about Trefford event. So you can just do well to subscribe to this event, so you can save your seat and then you can get notifications for any of the events that is coming up. So at this event, the link to join the community, you have dropped it, but I'll be dropping it again for Ifeoluwa. There are still 2 questions to ask, but then I would see if there's still a bit of time that Femi can spare to us, because we actually
I
have
mean, we can answer 1 or 2 questions.
Oh, great. In the comment section, I don't know. Oyibode is asking, very interesting question, but I think, yeah, okay, here's the question. You are getting into a fintech brand today, one that is operating in Europe alone. How would you kickstart your work in first 30 days of social media and content marketing? If you've done such before, please share real-time example.
Okay. Yeah, everybody. I think I think maybe 3 years ago, I was working on for a company in what country is it? Sorry, let me Google where this company is located.
Okay, why Seminars Arson is trying to get the answer to that. We've actually started taking feedback. How will you rate the session, Femi Arson? Key takeaways. What do you advise to improve on? I've dropped the link. Please drop your feedback there.
Okay, in Tallinn, right? So I'm sitting in Europe, right?
Oh.
And I basically helped with the strategy, and it was a very interesting gig for me at that point in time, because it was a different market that I didn't know who the influencers are. I didn't know who anybody was in that market. I didn't know key stakeholders, right? So I had to take time out. I spent maybe like a week just researching, right? Talking to people. Fortunately for me, I had some of my classmates that knew the cultural nuances in those communities, right? So I had to use that to refine my strategy, right? But how would I kickstart my first 30 days of social media and content marketing? It's basically just, for me, it was basically to understand the cultural nuances and what works in those markets. And just basically look at my competitors, what they're doing right, and just doubling down on that. I mean, for me, that's what I would do in an instant. My campaign was a PR campaign, so it was more of shaping a narrative at that point in time. So once I understood the cultural nuances, I just had to use my experience in PR um, to just work on a couple of campaigns for them. And I did a PR campaign and I did an influencer campaign, which was very unique, which was very weird for me because at that point in that city, that country, the type of influencers they use and the type of influencers that we use in Nigeria are very different, right? So I had to find the exact type of influencers that had an alignment with the brand, and I just refined basically what I did, right, for them. So, and they were funny enough, the influencers were even cheaper than what I'll pay for my normal influencers in Nigeria, right, to push the campaign. Yeah, so basically understand cultural nuances and find a way to add that to your strategy.
All right. Thank you so much, Femi Hassan. And the last question for today, I think Ololade has been raising I believe he just wants to call your attention to the question he or she dropped in the comment section, which I'll be reading. Okay, yeah. A minute, I'm trying to look for the question. He's asking if he can add sorry. If we can add search networking to okay, yeah. Can I include networking marketing as part of marketing strategies like SEO, SEM, content marketing?
Yes, network marketing in terms of what now? Do you mean events, event sponsorship, etc.? Is that what you mean by networking marketing?
Ololade, would you want to answer that?
Yeah, like selling products, like having because I've course to meet. I stay in Abeokuta and I've come across some people talking about networking marketing. And actually I told them what actually do they mean about networking marketing. Unfortunately, I was in Magodo, Lagos State last year for an interview, and I met them. Actually, I went there for a digital marketing role, and they were selling all these products from China, stuff like that,
okay.
things like that. So I've always said there's nothing like networking marketing, but I want to pick.
I mean, see, it's funny enough, it's a unique but good idea, right? Because what I always look at, right, and I look at Ponzi schemes as well. What worked for them, right? How did they grow? They grew through networking marketing. So user refer user, or man gets man, and one person gets a reward along that funnel, right? So yes, I think it's important that you can find ways to gamify your strategy to also include things like networking marketing. And ideal way for it is, for example, I'm working in a payment company, and if I'm trying to onboard, let's use a new market, let's say keke riders, right? That this is just a sample case study, right? I'm trying to onboard keke riders, and I want to onboard all the keke riders in Lagos State. What I would do ideally would be your approach of network marketing, because I would reach out to the association, but I also reach out to the keke riders itself for the pilot. So I'll start with the pilot stage where I reach out to the keke riders. And what I'll do is I'll tell the keke rider that, oh, I want to onboard 10 or 50 keke riders. What you do is I would onboard you, right? You would onboard somebody else, right? Once you onboard somebody else, you get a certain amount. It can be cashback, right? And once that person performs 10 transactions, right, or does 10 collections, for example, right, I get a certain amount in return, or you get a certain amount in return, right? So that way, it encourages the guy to onboard multiple people, and it also encourages him to encourage those people to do transactions, right? So there's that network of things, that there's that funnel of things that at the end of the day is enriching his pocket and is adding value for me as a business. So yeah, I think network marketing, once you can refine it properly, would work. And as I said earlier, it worked for Ponzi schemes. It worked for these Chinese products that you're talking about, right? Because your member gets member and everybody gets a reward. So I think it is very important in your strategy. And I think with most companies that I've worked at, I think I always have some sort of network marketing in terms of referrals, right? So for example, PalmPay, there are cashbacks and referrals. With Opay, we had that as well. And you have to find a business model that works for you. So once you understand what your business is, your revenue drivers, you can find a way to map out how you would disburse these funds or take out these funds from your profits, ensuring that it doesn't harm the business in any way.
Mm.
Right. So
Thank you so much,
that's the
Femi
answer to
Asin.
that question.
Yeah, we've already gotten feedback that the question has been answered, and the example you gave
Yeah,
was
Temu too. Perfect.
yeah, Timo.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Out of over 20 participants here, we only have 4 feedback. Please just do well to fill the link that I dropped in the comment section. It's a feedback link. How will you rate this session? We love feedback. Every of our session in Tripod, we always end with a feedback. So it will help us on how to improve more. What are your key takeaways from this session? And then what do you advise to improve on? How will you rate this session with Femi Asin? What are your key takeaways from this session and what do you advise to improve on? We can just do that within the next 1 minute. So we can just let Femi Hassan and every one of us have our weekends to ourselves. So let's do it to fill this real quick. And then also to reiterate on Limleke, we have a session on performance marketing coming up very soon. You can just do well to save your seat in our Trefford event. Where you got the notification for this particular event, you can also subscribe and you get notification for our performance marketing. If you are here and you've not filled the form for our community, I would say no. You are not permitted to leave yet. Do well to fill the link for the community to actually help us and navigate on how to craft and sessions to come to address pain points for our professionals. If you want to watch replay, it's live on YouTube. I have dropped the link for our YouTube I dropped it earlier. You can just do well, or you just search for Trefford, our live programs. You see this exactly how it is live on YouTube. My colleague also talked about Trefford.Africa, where you can take courses. Yes, courses. It's self-paced, and then yes, you'll be awarded certification at the end of it. Whatever you have, maybe you have pinpointing and then you need courses to address them. Of course, we have courses at Trefford.Africa, and then we have courses there. So I'm waiting for us to fill this feedback form. Very, very important. All right, please let's have more people coming. Okay, 2 participants are already responding. Let's have more participants to respond to this, and then we call it a session. How will you rate the session? What are your key takeaway? And then what do you advise to improve on? Just 3 solid feedback, and then to help us get to go. If you still need the link to join the community, I'll be dropping that in a bit. Very, very important. Just fill in your details. And then, yes, be a part of the next session we will be drafting. Yes, be a part of it. It actually helps in a way. Give me a minute. I want to drop the link on how you join the community. I noticed some people have not gotten that. So I want to drop that again. And then yes, Femi also made mention of the fact that you can connect with him on LinkedIn. You can connect with him on LinkedIn. If you've not joined the community, that is the link to join the community, and then I'll also be dropping the link to join Trefford event also in a bit. And then we'll read our feedback. Let's see what people have to say concerning this session, and then we'll call it a day. See you in the next event. Very, very important. Yeah, that is also the link to join to subscribe for our subsequent event, Trefford event. If you've not seen it, please subscribe to it. If you saw this particular event by mistake, the next one will not be by mistake. So intentional to subscribe to it, and then see you in the next event. I'm trying to drop it. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's the link to our for the event. Do well to just click on the link and then subscribe. So yeah, let's read our comments. What do people have to say concerning this event? How will you rate this session with Femi Asin? 5.0. Quite a number of people enjoyed the session with Femi Asin. Thank you so much, Femi Asin. for making it a date with Horace at Trefoid. And then what are your key takeaway? Very interesting. Better understand how I should think as a senior marketing person. You've got to have an escalation plan, get a mentor, and integrity. My main takeaway will be to take specialized courses to position myself for senior roles. Another would be to get a mentor. Love the session, presentation, and delivery. Well done, Femi. Navigation, senior roles, and how to get a mentor. Everybody seems to get the highlights from the mentorship part. All right, thank you so much for Femi. What do you advise to improve on? More marketing session. Of course, please do well to subscribe on our Tripod events on Luma. Do well to fill in the community form, be a part of, sharing your voice in crafting sessions like this to come. Everything was excellent. Thank you so much, everybody, for making it a day with us. You can always watch the replay on YouTube. We look forward to having your insight, especially in the community forum, and also do what to subscribe for subsequent events. And then save your seat. There are a lot of events on our Luma page that you can save your seat and then get notifications. Thank you so much, Femi, for coming around. Do you have any farewell speech for us?
Thank you so much. Sorry guys for dragging you guys out on a Saturday morning.
Right.
Many of us wanted to rest or go for overambers, etc. But I really enjoyed this.
It's
And
worth it. It's worth
thank you,
it.
especially because now I'm thinking of how I can board on the keke in Lagos. Right. So yeah, thank you for giving me a new idea. And
All
yeah,
right.
thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Femi Asin. Thank you, Olade. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Chidi Light. I see that you are here and there. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you, Bemileke. Please, I hope to see you in our performance marketing class. Thank you, Hebron. Thank you, Yowali. Do have a wonderful. Thank you, Joma. Yes, I heard your voice. Thank you, Zainab. Thank you, Damari. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Divine. I love your face. Do well to have a wonderful weekend and see you in the next event. This is where we say bye for now. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. If you have any other question, do well to fill in the community form. We'll always reach out to you. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye. Have a wonderful weekend.